The soldiers were preparing to adjust the artillery when they were suddenly ambushed, causing them to panic and shout. In a vehicle in the middle of the convoy, Wei Dinghai and Chen Jingguan were chatting. They were also startled when they received news about the enemy. Surrounding them was a vast snowy field with no place to hide. Where did the enemy come from? Moreover, according to intelligence, Zhang Yi's team had fewer than 10 people. Now they dared to ambush an elite troop, which was nothing short of suicide. Although the current situation was unclear, Wei Dinghai still ordered everyone to stay alert and find the enemy. The soldiers of Zhaoyu base had undergone professional training. Although they could not compare to the professional soldiers of Shishan base, there were no lack of professional mercenaries among them. Upon receiving the order, they quickly loaded their ammunition and used the vehicles as cover, while carefully searching for the hidden enemies. In the darkness, an explosion rang out, and a soldier beside the leading vehicle had his head blown off, literally. Zhang Yi used a type of rifle capable of penetrating armored vehicles. When the bullets hit, even a slight touch would result in an explosion. Many soldiers had already left their vehicles. They were preparing to launch an assault with firepower but did not guard against the enemy from 3 kilometers away. As a result, they became live targets on the snowy field. Unable to dodge, they were all shot dead by Zhang Yi, one by one. 3 soldiers who had not yet moved were shot dead on the spot, with half of their bodies blown into a bloody mist. The sniper rifle brought terrifying destruction. Many soldiers of the Zhaoyu base were not professional soldiers. Most were people gathered and trained in a short time. Faced with such a horrific scene of death, they were terrified, their faces turning pale, some even forgetting to flee. The inevitable result for them was cold bullets. Very quickly, the white snowy field was stained with dark red blood. This horrific scene of death added a bizarre aspect to the snowy landscape. The deaths of many soldiers left Zhaoyu base in a state of helplessness, unable to defend themselves. Though death was commonplace on the battlefield, they were not professional soldiers and never imagined they would encounter a sniper in such a wild environment. The lack of information about Zhang Yi's capabilities caused Zhaoyu base to fall into panic. They had not realized the nature of their opponent, simply thinking a sniper was attacking them. A soldier at Zhaoyu base turned pale as he watched his comrades being shot dead. He couldn't understand where the bullets were coming from. A squad leader ordered through the communication device for everyone to find and eliminate the sniper quickly. Meanwhile, Zhaoyu base's own snipers aimed their rifles towards Zhang Yi. As seasoned soldiers, they tried to pinpoint Zhang Yi's location based on the fired shots. However, through their scopes, they couldn't see anything beyond 3 kilometers. All they saw was a vast expanse of white snow. In an instant, they were bewildered. "Where are the bullets coming from?" a sniper muttered, puzzled by their inability to locate the shooter. Just a second later, his head was blown off as well. Each bullet fired by Zhang Yi unfailingly took a life. Even though they had taken precautions, the soldiers of Zhaoyu base felt increasingly uneasy. Zhang Yi silently continued to fire. Distance was not an issue, nor was accuracy. As soon as any part of a soldier's body was exposed, Zhang Yi would not hesitate to pull the trigger. In the snowy environment, the sound of gunfire kept echoing. One by one, soldiers fell. Their deaths were extremely tragic. Some even hid behind vehicles, but both they and the vehicles were pierced through, and from beginning to end, they couldn't locate the enemy. Wei Dinghai gritted his teeth in anger. Using us as target practice, such arrogance. In such a situation, Wei Dinghai could no longer sit still. After Zhang Yi had consecutively shot down 15 soldiers, a snowstorm suddenly enveloped the convoy, covering everything in white. Soon after, the snowstorm filled the sky, engulfing the entire convoy and making it disappear from Zhang Yi's sight. Zhang Yi momentarily paused. The one controlling the snowstorm seemed to have similar abilities to Su Chunlei. He smirked, then continued observing through his scope. "Let's see how long your powers can last. If you continue advancing, you will have to move eventually," he thought. He just needed to wait for the enemy to show a slight flaw. That was all. Sitting inside the vehicle, Wei Dinghai used his ability to summon a snowstorm to temporarily shield the convoy. However, this was not a long-term solution, as the distance to Zhang Yi's manor was still far. The surrounding area was just an open snowy field with no suitable cover. Maintaining the power for a long time would drain his energy, affecting future combat. Wei Dinghai ordered, "We must find the sniper hiding in the darkness. Why can't we locate him?" He spoke angrily, but no one could provide a reasonable explanation. On this snowy field, there was essentially no suitable hiding spot. Moreover, from the positions where over 10 soldiers had died, it could be inferred that this was an attack from above. Yet, all around them, there was only the sky, with no trees or cover. Chen Jingguan pointed towards the hiding place and said, I believe Zhang Yi's team definitely has an extremely powerful sniper. The sniper's position must be in that direction. Therefore, these bullets must have been fired from his hiding spot. Wei Dinghai's pupils suddenly constricted. But this place is over 3 kilometers away from the hiding spot. He's fired more than 10 shots and still has energy left. Could it be that he's not conserving his strength for assassinating our base's people? From this information, both Wei Dinghai and Chen Jingguan came to a terrifying conclusion. That sniper has horrifying power. Not only is his ability formidable, but he also has a large reserve of energy, to the extent that he can waste it on ordinary soldiers. Continuing like this will only increase casualties. After a moment, Wei Dinghai decisively ordered the convoy to retreat immediately. Now, the other forces haven't gathered in full yet. We don't need to sacrifice needlessly. Retreating out of his shooting range is the best option. At this point, Wei Dinghai's order had been relayed to each soldier. Everyone immediately returned to their vehicles, and then the vehicles began to turn around. To facilitate the retreat, Wei Dinghai maintained the snowstorm to obscure Zhang Yi's vision. However, turning around a dozen vehicles on the snowy ground was a large movement that inevitably risked detection. Zhang Yi knew they might be retreating, so he waited until the distance between them and his hiding spot was about 3 kilometers before taking action. This range was sufficient for his sniper rifle to penetrate armored vehicles. Not to mention the armored vehicles modified from regular cars. With a precise shot, he hit the tire of one vehicle. The tire deflated, and the suspension system was heavily impacted, causing the vehicle to lose control. Zhang Yi calmly reloaded and continued firing. Another vehicle was pierced and became immobile. Inside the vehicle, the anxious voices of the soldiers began to rise. The vehicle can't move, what do we do now? The soldiers in the vehicle began to panic and plead, don't leave us behind. Please find a way to save us. They knew that once they emerged from the snowstorm, they would become targets. They were terrified, understanding that the attacker was a mutant with long-range abilities, which was far more frightening than a conventional sniper. At least a regular sniper had many limitations and could be dealt with, but with this kind of attack, they had no chance to counter. They could only take the hits passively, where even a small mistake could lead to death. On one of the vehicles with many soldiers, Wei Dinghai couldn't abandon them. He ordered, slow down so the soldiers in that vehicle can switch positions with the convoy. The convoy slowed down, but Wei Dinghai expanded the range of the snowstorm to prevent Zhang Yi from continuing his shooting. The long distance made it difficult for him to be effective. However, for Zhang Yi, accuracy was the key. Not needing to aim perfectly wasn't a problem. After all, his bullets only needed to make slight contact for the target to be beyond saving. The convoy moved through the snowstorm, keeping close to each other to reduce the resistance of the snowstorm. The Xiaoyu base soldiers quickly changed positions within the convoy. However, their ears once again heard the sound of gunfire, the sound of death. Many soldiers were shot in the legs. Even though the sniper fire wasn't frequent, the sharp sound was enough to instill fear. A seasoned soldier shouted in anger, damn it, our armor is too weak. It can't withstand this kind of sniper rifle. He had fought his entire life but had never felt so humiliated. Despite enduring the humiliation, they had no other choice because they didn't have such powerful abilities. The bullets kept coming. Each vehicle emitted a terrifying sound. The soldiers inside didn't trust the protective capability of the armored vehicles. They lay down inside, hoping to avoid the incoming bullets. But even then, some were still hit. Wei Dinghai, sitting inside the vehicle, heard the screams from outside. His face turned grim. Let's get out of here quickly. Speed up. If there are wounded, don't worry about them. They won't survive anyway. The sound of gunfire echoed continuously across the snowy field, and each shot struck fear into the hearts of the Xiaoyu base soldiers. Despite the vehicles being modified, they could hardly withstand the bullets once hit. Chen Jingguan felt uneasy. If this continues, who knows how many more he will kill. I'll go over there, he said, then opened the door and jumped out. In the freezing snowstorm, he moved like a superhuman, leaping from the back of the vehicle to block the rear of the convoy. His body began to grow larger and emit a golden light, shielding the rear vehicles. Finally, a sniper bullet struck his body but did not penetrate. The bullet fell to the snow a moment later. Chen Jingguan's face showed pain. He thought, the power of these bullets is too great. Even though my mutant ability can withstand most physical impacts, the pain doesn't lessen. This also proved that the sniper's power was extremely formidable and terrifying. Zhang Yi didn't know the enemy had a bullet-blocking mutant, he just kept firing towards that area. He had plenty of ammunition. Whenever he ran out of bullets, he switched to a new rifle. After defeating the Shishan base, he had many sniper rifles. After a while, the soldiers of Zhaoyu base completely moved out of Zhang Yi's sniper range. Zhang Yi thought, so they managed to escape. It seems they are waiting for reinforcements before planning their approach and attack. Zhang Yi smirked. It doesn't matter. Whoever comes, they must be ready to face my surprise attacks. Through the communication device, his teammates realized the gunfire had stopped and quickly asked Zhang Yi about the situation. Zhang Yi, what's their status? Zhang Yi replied casually, I killed dozens of them, and then they retreated. They're probably waiting for other forces to gather before launching a combined attack. Everyone was amazed. Su Chunlei exclaimed, you killed dozens of them by yourself? That's incredible. You truly are the boss, so powerful. Zhang Yi calmly responded, it's nothing unusual, just basic operations. If I couldn't handle basic tasks like this, absorbing so many mutant abilities would have been useless. If mutant abilities had levels, no one in Amami City could match me now. After all, I've absorbed the powers of those who were the top mutants in Amami City. Zhang Yi continued, long-range sniping and defense are my specialties. If they break through my sniping line and reach the front lines, you guys will have to step up and stop them. When necessary, my divine might can easily deal with a few mutants. The combination of divine might and precise sniping, although it consumes a lot of energy, is extremely effective in attacks. Only mutants with super strong defensive abilities can withstand this kind of attack. Su Chunlei grinned wickedly, let's see if they can survive our boss's ambush. Zhang Yi showed no arrogance, for him, this was just a trivial matter. At this moment, the Zhaoyu base had retreated to a safe distance. Wei Dinghai immediately called for a casualty report. The report was grim, one vehicle was completely destroyed, 3 others were severely damaged, making driving back very difficult. 2 team leaders were lightly injured, and 35 regular soldiers had been killed. Wei Dinghai's face looked very dark. How could this happen? We failed right from the start. There's a mutant in Zhang Yi's team that powerful? This is unreasonable. As a top-tier mutant, Wei Dinghai had a certain understanding of the intensity of mutant abilities. He had never witnessed anything like this, someone capable of shooting from a distance of 3 kilometers and penetrating 3 thick steel plates along with a bulletproof vest. He thought to himself, could it be that a high-level mutant has emerged in Amami City? Wei Dinghai quickly reasoned, to focus on mastering a single field to the highest level, there must be weaknesses. No one can be perfect without flaws. After thinking for a moment, he resolutely concluded, no, it's not that terrifying. It's just long-range attacks. In close combat, he must be very weak. Therefore, we just need to approach his hiding spot and use blind spots in his line of sight to avoid his shots. Break his cover, and the sniper will no longer be a threat to us. Chen Jingguan, his face pained from Zhang Yi's attack, said, Chief, the enemy sniper is too terrifying. We can't continue attacking head-on. I think we should take a longer route to stay out of his range. Wei Dinghai stroked his chin. A longer route, huh? Considering Zhang Yi's effective shooting radius of 3 kilometers, we'd have to take a significantly larger detour. Chen Jingguan opened the map on his satellite phone and pointed to a location. Attacking from here is quite good. There are many objects to use as cover to avoid getting shot. Wei Dinghai nodded. Good idea. But we shouldn't rush. Let's find a place to hide first. Chen Jingguan was puzzled. Hide? Haven't we already been discovered? What's the point of hiding now? Wei Dinghai's eyes glinted with cold ruthlessness. We can't let a sniper make us suffer without retaliating. We must also make Yangsheng base and other bases experience the feeling of being hunted like prey. Not long after, the convoy from Yangsheng base arrived from another direction. What awaited them was the same scenario that had unfolded before. As they entered Zhang Yi's effective shooting range, his hunt officially began. This time, having learned from experience, he was smarter. He started by shooting the tires of the cars. Next was the killing of the drivers. As each vehicle came to a stop, the convoy from Yangsheng base began to panic. They first tried to use the vehicles to locate the hidden sniper. Their scenario was no different. Zhang Yi could kill each person one by one, turning their heads into a mess of bones and blood. their arms shattered as they extended from the gaps in the vehicles. Xiao Honglian, stationed nearby, quickly organized a counterattack. "Hurry up and find and deal with that damn sniper. Daring to ambush us here, he's not afraid of death." However, no matter how hard the troops from Yangsheng base searched, they couldn't find the sniper's hiding spot. No one could imagine that someone could attack from such a distance. Suddenly, a white figure appeared in the team of vehicles. Swiftly advancing forward, a bullet was shot directly at the convoy, and the white figure intercepted it in midair. The sparks flew, and the bullet shot by Zhang Yi was unexpectedly deflected. However, the white figure was also pushed back a few steps by the recoil. Zhang Yi chuckled softly, clearly observing the figure's appearance. Finally, another mutant appears. It was then followed by a tall, thin figure with a head resembling that of a wolf or a dog, covered in gray fur. Clearly, it was a mutant belonging to the beast race. It was no surprise that this individual had the agility and strength to intercept a bullet from Zhang Yi. As Zhang Yi noticed him, the beast man also saw Zhang Yi. His eyes had the ability to see things that humans couldn't. He was taken aback, thinking to himself, such a long distance. The wolfman felt challenged. With his speed and skills, he could kill his opponent in a matter of seconds in a one-on-one fight. But now, with his opponent hiding, he couldn't simply charge in recklessly. Before the wolfman could think further, Zhang Yi's bullet was already heading towards him. Using his sharp fangs and large body, the wolfman blocked the bullet. Zhang Yi didn't rush to continue the attack. He only used a few bullets to harass the mutants, while the wolfman knew that one mistake could cost him his life. This was what Zhang Yi liked the most. 1 shot. 2 shots. 3 shots. 4 shots. The mutant wolf, feeling exhausted, with his claws starting to tremble, thought to himself, even as a mutant of the beast race with a strong physique, continuously blocking 3 or 4 bullets from a sniper rifle is still a heavy burden for me. But as the wolfman stepped back, he didn't show anger. Instead, he smirked and said, "Preparations are complete." At this moment, a steel-armored vehicle with a gray cannon, an artillery piece, aimed directly at Zhang Yi, and a shell roared from the barrel toward Zhang Yi. Zhang Yi frowned. The opponent was using heavy weaponry. This was truly interesting.